Hello to everyone. This is going to be the activity for the lab number 2. This time I saved the time because I didn't include how to open Minitab. Remember that you want to know that you can check the first lab video, the video for the lab number 1. So I will try these videos to be very precise, all right, straight to the point. So the introduction, right? This is about randomization, all right. You can read all of this. Here we're going to see some methods about random sampling, random assignments of treatments, blocking, balanced blocks, all right. So in this case, how to do the assignment? How to do this assignment? Random assignment. We are going to randomly assign treatments, active or placebo, to 12 patients. This is a random assignment without blocking. Minitab will shuffle the order of the subjects. The first 6 will get treatment A, and the second 6 will get treatment P. So active or placebo. Randomly assign 12 subjects to 2 groups. All right. So you see this kind of assignment essentially is that you have to follow the indications or the instructions given on them, and you will have to apply them in Minitab. So first, on the drop-down menu, select in Minitab, Calc, Make Pattern Data, and Simple Set of Numbers. Store pattern data in C1 from first value from 1 up to 12, and then click OK. Continue without autosave. And now, if you see in the column number 1, we have generated the numbers from 1 up to 12, the natural numbers. Now we're going to take a sample from these numbers, and we're going to put that in the column number 2. So on the drop-down menu, again, select Calc, Random Data. Well, remember here we have directly the option for sample from columns, so this is the one we have to use in this case. Sample from columns. Set number of rows to sample. We want to sample 12 from columns from the column C1. That if you double click, you will add this to this box. Store samples in the column C2, and leave the checkbox empty for sample with replacement. So we're going to leave it like that by now, and then click OK. And there you have 12 numbers, the same 12 numbers, but it's only a permutation for the numbers from 1 up to 12, but only placed in a different order. The MAC instructions, we can skip that. Using the permutation of numbers in C2, fill in the chart below for treatment assignments A or P of all 12 patients. Remember that we had the indication here that the first 6 will get treatment A and the second 6 will get treatment P. So from 1 up to 6, we will have to number 1 corresponds to number 8. So from 1 up to 6 is going to be treatment A, and from 7 up to 12 is going to be P. First, here you have first 6 treatment A, the second 6 will get treatment P. So for the one is number 8, so it's P. For the second one is 7, so it's P. The third one is 10, so it's P. Number 4 is 9, so it's P. The 5 corresponds to 5, that is A. The 6 corresponds to 3, that is A. 7 corresponds to 6, that is A. 8 corresponds to 11, that is P. 9 corresponds to 12, that is P. And obviously the other ones are going to be A. 1, 4, 2, they are from 1 up to 6, so I mean there are numbers less than 6, so there has to they must be A. And there you have it. Okay, so you complete this with the numbers that with the corresponding permutation you got. Now, second part of this activity, random assignment of treatments with blocking. Here I'm going to read. If we would like to design a study testing two pesticides and a control on different fields for several farms, we would want to block by farm. To have random assignment of the treatments, we will have Minitab select the block sequence. The first step is to determine how many unique blocks there are. The coding we'll use for the treatments are pesticide 1 is equal to P or corresponds to P, pesticide 2 to R, and the control corresponds to C. Every block can only contain each letter once. Draw a tree diagram to help you decipher all of the block combinations on the table. All right, so in this case, only follow the pattern for the block. For example, the first block is going to be PRC, and the second one is going to be PCR. And now we change the first letter to C. It's going to be PR. The other one is going to be CRP. Well, I cannot write here, but I'm going to write it here. Since here we have CPR, this one has to be CRP. You see that? This one we have R first, so the next letters, they must be P and C. So I can put RPC. I'm sorry, RPC, and then the other one, RCP. PRC, PCR, notice how we have the first letter, we have fixed the first letter for a sequence of 2, and then we only make a permutation of, we change the order for the other letters, RC, CR, CPR, CRP, RPC, and RCP. I think that is correct. Now, we have to continue on Minitab. Randomly assign blocks to 8 farms with 3 fields. Type each of the blocks, PCR, all of this, PCR, PRC, all of this into the column C3. So let's do that. We have PRC, PCR, CPR, CRP, RPC, and RCP. There you have. Type each of the blocks into the column C3. Now, on the drop-down menu, on the menu select Calc, random data, sample from columns. So Calc, sample from columns. Set the number of rows to sample equal to 8. In this case, it's going to be 8. Notice how when you're doing all of this, all the previous information or the numbers you entered, they are saved there in Minitab. Okay, so take that into account for the next activities. Maybe it can be useful. Continue with this. Set the numbers of rows to sample 8 from columns. In this case, it's going to be C3, and store this in C4. And now here, click the checkbox for sample with replacement. In this case, we have to click here. We have to mark this little box, sample with replacement, and then click OK. And then in C4 we have PCR. We have like a sample from this 6. But you say, why would we have 8? Well, because we can repeat, right? We can repeat some of them for sure are going to be repeated, at least one of them. So the MAC instruction, we can skip that. And now again, once you have this, on the drop-down menu, select Calc, sample from columns. Again, Calc, sample from columns. Set number of rows to sample equal to 8. Use C3. No, I'm sorry, I'm repeating the instructions for Mac, right? I'm sorry. Yeah, Mac instructions, so I'm sorry. Forget about that, right? So these are the instructions. We already did it. It sets Mac instructions. So I'm sorry, I had to skip that. Now here in this part, here, use the random blocks chosen in C4. Fill in the treatment diagram of the farms. Only one treatment, P, C, or R per field section. So now notice we have 8 here. So well, you have to only complete this. For example, for number 1, the first one is going to be P, second one C, the other one R, the other one R, then P, and then C, the other one C, then R, and then P, and so on. Okay? And so on, right? So notice how am I writing this based on the number or the information that I have in the column C4. PCR, PCR, RPC, RPC, CRP, CRP, CPR, CPR, and then RCP, and we have to continue this with the remaining cells or rows. Obviously, you're going to have it's very likely you're going to have something different here. Okay, and with this we complete this portion of the assignment. Now, of this activity. Now, the last part of the activity is this random assignment of treatments with balance blocking. We want to generate the sequence of treatments a cancer center would assign for a study with 40 patients, balanced within a block size of 4. There are 2 possible treatments indicated by A and B. There are 6 possible balance blocks, not in any particular order, since there are 40 patients. 10 block sets are needed. To generate these block sets, first assign the numbers 1 up to 6 to each possible block set. So this part of the activity is interesting because we're going to learn how to code something into that is in numbers into text. All right. So let's follow the instructions. Using Minitab, generate a sample of 10 random numbers from 1 up to 6 using the sample with replacement option. So type 1 up to 6 on the column C5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There you have. Now again in the menu, in the drop-down menu, select Calc, Random Data, Sample from Columns. Calc, Random Data. Well, remember we have a specific instruction for Sample from Columns. This one, Sample from Columns. Set number of rows to sample equal to 10. From column, obviously C5. And store the samples in the column C6. And then click the checkbox for sample with replacement. So I click OK. OK. And now in C6, notice we have a sample from the numbers from 1 up to 6, but we have 10 numbers, right? Again, why do we have more numbers? How can we have 10 if we have only 6 numbers? Because some of them are repeated. So Mac instructions, we can skip that. Now replace the numbers with the blocks. Again, drop down menu, data, recode. Go to the menu here, data, and then recode to text. You see, recode to text. Recode values in the following columns. C6. You can click here in this box, the C6, or you can choose this and double click. You see, it's going to be added there in the box. Method. What is the method that we want? That we have to choose? Recode individual values. Recode individual values, and then we have to specify how are you going to recode each of the values from 1 up to 6. And I think we have to do like this, right? As these instructions. A, B, A, B, B, A, B, A, A, B, B, A, B, A, A, B, A, B. And 1, 2, 4. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, notice here it's something, it happens something interesting, all right? We only have the numbers 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. We don't have the number 3. Why not? Because it didn't show up in the sample we got. In that case, don't worry about it. I only follow the pattern. So I did a mistake here. The number 1 is okay. A, B, B, A. Yeah, A, B, B, A. 2, B, A, A, B. But number 3, we don't have the number 3. It didn't show up in the sample. So we ignore the number 3 by now. So number 4 is A, B, A, B. Number 5 is A, A, B, B. And number 6, B, B, A, A. So it's some of the numbers doesn't show up, all right, from the sample. And now we say that the population here is the numbers from 1 up to 6, but when we took the sample, some of the numbers maybe they don't show up, right? In this case, the number 3 was not chosen. So in that case, don't worry about that. Only write the code, the text code for the numbers that you see here. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Is that okay? And then store samples in C6. No, I'm sorry. We're here, right? It's the number 2. Replace the number with the blocks. Drop down menu. Data recode to text. Recode values in the following column C6. Recode individual values next to the current value. Type the corresponding treatment each order for each. All right. Storage location for the recorded columns. In specified columns on the current worksheet. And then you put C7. And then OK. And then in C7, we are going to have this sample, but recoded with this key we have here, right? And finally, once you have done this, you will have to only change this by every block. For example, number 1, BBA, only write B, B, A, A. Number 2, A, B, A, B. Number 3, A, B, B, A. And so on, right? You will have 10 blocks. And notice we have 10 blocks. So you can complete this, right? And then upload or submit your activity. And after this, it says now repeat the entire process with 300 patients, right? You will have to do this by yourselves. How many blocks of 4 are needed to accommodate 300 patients, right? So try to respond this by yourselves. Anyway, if you have any question, remember, you can let me know, do the office hours, or send me an email, right? I will respond to all your questions, but in this case, I think with this activity, hopefully everything is clear. All right, see you later.